might have come across such advertisements on various social media platforms. Please note, all of these are fraudsters promising unbelievable returns through stock tips. I don't provide any calls or advisory services. I provide only educational content through my social media handles and through my website rachanaranade.com and rachanaranade.in. Hey folks, CA Rachana Ranade here, and I welcome you all to a very interesting IPO summary of KRN Heat Exchanger and Refrigeration Limited. Now, first and foremost, we have to, as usual, try and understand what does the company do. So this company manufactures fin and tube type heat exchangers. Now, for a non-science student like me, when I read what is this fin and tube type heat exchangers, like what is this? So if you have a look at this is how it looks like. But still, I was confused that where is it used? And when I found out this image, it's like, I have seen this. We had a Fiat car, and that is how it looked like when we went to a mechanic. So that is a classic example of visual that we can correlate to for a fin and tube type heat exchanger. But then, does the company manufacture this whole exchanger, or does it also manufacture certain parts which are a part of this whole heat exchanger? So this company has product range which includes evaporator units, condenser coils, evaporator coils, header copper parts, fluid and steam coils, and sheet metal parts. Now, I'm sure first of all you might have felt that okay, I have understood that fin and tube type heat exchangers, but what are these used for? Where is this evaporator unit used? Where is this condenser coil used? You want to understand this in the immediate next section of the video, okay? But before that, we have to understand that where are these all parts used? These parts are used in heat ventilation, air conditioning, refrigeration industry overall, right? So now you can understand, acha, they are making some parts which are used maybe inside an AC. They are used in some part of refrigeration industry. Basics maybe we are able to correlate right now. We are going to dig down into a little bit deep in the next section of the video though, okay? Just one point before we wrap up this section. Heat exchangers manufactured are typically made of non-ferrous metals, primarily copper and aluminium. Okay, so I hope first and foremost you have understood that they make fin and tube type heat exchangers. You've also understood about the product range. What we are now going to do is we are going to understand the application where this product ranges are used. Well, before moving on, just a small request. If you are still not subscribed to my channel and hit the bell icon, please pause the video, do that, and then move on. Why? This will help you to stay updated in this world of investing. Now we'll try and understand where are the products that they manufacture, where are they used, but again in a non-science background style. So first and foremost, let me say sorry to all the engineers who are watching this video, just in case I'm using too basic explanation. You can dig down deep, but for people like me, this is more than enough of information, okay? Because whenever we are analyzing any company, we have to understand where are their products used. We have to understand in whichever industry their products are used, is that industry ideally expected to grow or not? Okay, that is what is exactly required. So first and foremost, let's start with evaporator coils that this company manufactures. Okay, simplest explanation. In an AC, okay, let's say an AC is installed inside a room. What does the AC do? It takes the heat, or it takes the air, which is typically warm air. It will take it inside. It will, do some process, and then it will release cool air inside the room. Okay, who does that? Evaporator coil is one of the products that is really important in this whole process. Okay, so can I say this coil is going to be used inside the AC? Yes. Simple, first point. Second, they also manufacture condenser coils. Now, this condenser coil, I'm sure you might have seen a unit which is installed outside the room. So there is AC which is installed inside the room, but that AC also has one more unit which is installed outside the room. I'm sure you have seen that, yes. Now, these condenser coils are used in that unit which is there outside your room, and that is mainly designed or devised to release the heat into the surrounding environment. I mean, I'm sure you might have done this exercise sometime during your childhood also, or maybe some might have also experienced this right now. If you stand next to that device, or if you just try to, take your hand near that device, you literally feel hot air coming outside that device. Okay, and why? Because of this condenser coil. Simple till here. So one product was used inside that AC, one product was used in that unit outside, which is used, it's also like an extension to the AC is what you can imagine. Okay. Third, they manufacture fluid and steam coils. Now, I'm sure you might have experienced this typically during winters. If you are forced to go inside a swimming pool, what lagte? It's very cold inside the swimming pool, and going in that cold water is such a pain. But all these rich category swimming pools, they'll be temperature controlled swimming pools, right? Now, what is this temperature controlled swimming pool? They'll have these fluid and steam coils which are installed somewhere, maybe at the bottom of the swimming pool or whatever. Let's not go into the specifications. Basically, those coils will ensure that the water temperature is maintained, okay, and it's warm enough so that anyone entering that water doesn't get chill, doesn't get feel the chills the moment that person enters into the swimming pool, okay. So third product what they manufacture is also clear. Fourth product is condensing units and air cooling units. Basically, you can now imagine that's how it looks like. So basically, this is a very crucial component of any refrigeration system, okay. Now, whenever I'm talking about big condensing units, what can you imagine? It can be used in places like ice cream factories, where the temperature needs to be controlled wherever the ice cream needs to be stored, or in ice factories also, okay. So I hope you have understood where these condensing units, especially large condensing units, are used, okay. And ultimately, we have to also understand that not only they make these big parts, they also make headers and copper parts. Now, if you have a look at this image, you will understand that they are very small, or a lot of precise and consistent bending will be required, consistent forming will be required. So all in all, a lot of accuracy will be required with very minimal imperfections while they are manufacturing such headers or copper parts. And lastly, what they manufacture is sheet metal parts. Now, they can be used in multiple places. Also, you can imagine, let's say some coil needs to be mounted on such metal sheet metal parts. That is also one more application of that. So all in all, just to wrap up all the 5 points that we discussed right now. First one was evaporator coil, that was used inside the AC. Second one was condenser coil, which was used in the unit which is installed outside your room. Third thing, we talked about fluid and steam coils, that was used inside that swimming pool to maintain the temperature. Fourth, we talked about condensing units and air cooling units. I said wherever large refrigeration systems are involved, like ice cream factory, ice factory, I said. Next, I talked about headers and copper parts. Small parts will be used to in all the products that we discussed right now, correct? And last one was sheet and metal parts. Now that you have understood all the products, in the next section of the video, we'll understand how much revenue is generated from each of the product segment. Now let's have a look at the product segment, that is how much revenue is contributed by each of their products, key products. And for that, have a look at this. Now, if you see here, for evaporator coils and condenser coils, majority of the revenue, that is more than 90%, is generated by these two products only. Now, if you see here, from 21-22 to 23-24, the revenue for evaporator coils percentage wise has increased from 32.95% to 37.49%, and for condenser coils it has dropped from 63.71% to 55.24%. But the main point, as I mentioned, evaporator coils and condenser coils are their main products, as they contribute to more than 90% of the revenue. Now, talking about their products is okay, but who are their main clients? If you talk about their main clients, they are Daikin Air Conditioning India Private Limited, Schneider Electric, I'm just cutting it short, Kirloskar Chillers, Blue Star, Climaventa. I'm sure majority of these names you must have read somewhere. You might have known about these brands. So now that we know so much about the company, in the next section we'll talk about the industry analysis. Now, the industry analysis is not going to be really long. What I read in their RHP, it mentioned that the increased consumption is further going to drive the sale of non-discretionary items like air conditioners. Now, that was my only question when I read it. Is air conditioner really a non-discretionary item these days? Because looking at the overall heat wave in India, I am sure a lot of my viewers who are watching this video right now, majority of them may have air conditioners in their homes or at their office places, right? Now, if I were to even check about myself, I mean, I did not have an air conditioner in the house like until 4 or 5 years ago, and I used to feel that air conditioner is like something which is not required. It's like a fancy item. But when I experienced the heat wave this time, it was like it's a mandatory thing. That is one which is driving up the overall air conditioner sales in India. Number two, obviously, with more and more income levels, more and more spending power of the people in India, definitely products like these are going to be demanded more and more. So all in all, I'm sure you have understood that the products which are used in ACs, that is what this company is manufacturing, right? They are ideally going to see an increased demand in the coming future as well. Now let's understand about one more small point about the company specifically. If you have a look at this chart, you will understand that out of the total revenue, I'm talking specifically about 23-24, total revenue stands at 30,828 lakhs. So out of this, the total export revenue you can see it is around 4,500 lakhs. In short, I can say roughly 15% of their total revenue comes from exports. Now, from where does it come from? If you see, majority of the chunk from comes from Asia, which is around 59%, North America is 23.5%, and Europe is 17.5% roughly. Now we also have to understand that how many number of customers are they catering to. Obviously understand that the number of customers is not going to be really large. Why? It's more of a B2B thing, because they are going to manufacture those products which are going to be used in the AC, and that AC is going to be sold to people like you and me. So it's like a B2B2C product. Okay, so number of customers or clients is going to be comparatively low. How much? Have a look at this. Now we see here domestic clients have been more or less similar, 85 in 22 and 81 in 24. But if you have a look at international clients, they have gone up from 10 to 32. Okay, so this is about the overall sales understanding geographically. In the next section, we'll understand about the key risks related to the business. Now let's understand about the top two key risks that I felt should be highlighted out of a lot of risks which have been mentioned in the prospectus. First thing, if you have a look at this chart, you will understand that the largest customer for this company is Daikin Air Conditioning India Private Limited, and that accounts for 33.34% of the revenue. Means what? Whatever is the total revenue generated, one third of that comes from a single client. Now, what if this client were to shift to some other company? That is the risk that the business faces. Top 5 customers contribute to 55.12% of the sales, and top 10 customers contribute to 72.31% of the sales. I hope everyone must understand that even though I'm saying that top 5 customers contribute to 55% of the sale, as I mentioned, the number of customer itself is going to be small. Out of that, though, more than 50% definitely could be considered as one of the key risks. Okay. Before I move on to the second risk, everyone must understand this, that whatever data I'm discussing with you, 100% data has been taken from the red herring prospectus of the company, right? Second one is about the key risks. The second key risk that we are going to discuss is about from where are they sourcing their raw material. If you see here, have a look at this chart, and you will see that from Malaysia, 43% of the raw material is sourced. From Vietnam, 32% of the raw material is sourced. South Korea, 12%. Balance Thailand, China, roughly 5%. Okay. Now, this is about the total imports from top 5 jurisdictions. Now, understand, if something goes wrong in a place like in Malaysia or in Vietnam, okay, their economy goes for a toss, or some geopolitical tensions start in those countries, can I say for this company sourcing raw material is going to be a challenge? Yes. And if that be so, can their production be hampered? Yes. If their production is hampered, it can definitely impact their top line and bottom line as well. Now let's talk about the financials of the company. First, I'm going to talk about key pointers. One is revenue from operations, then we'll talk about EBITDA, and then about PAT. If you see in all these three parameters, revenue has been continuously rising and at a CAGR of 25.46%. EBITDA has been increasing but at a CAGR of 51.12%, whereas PAT has been increasing continuously and at a CAGR of 54.52%. All in all, good CAGR growth. CAGR growth nahi, good CAGR. Okay. If I talk about EBITDA margins, that has improved from 10.85% to 18.96%, and PAT has grown from 6.78% to 12.67% PAT margin basically. Talking about ROE and ROC, as at 2024, they stand at 40.86% and 31.21% respectively. Their growth is not that, it's kind of a negative growth, but generally for ROE and ROC, we take these numbers as on a specific date or as at year ended, I can say. Talking about peer comparison, unfortunately, I cannot do that because the RHP very clearly mentions that there are no listed peers in India. Now we have to understand about the key objects of this issue. What have they clearly mentioned? That they are going to use this entire proceeds for investment in their wholly owned subsidiary, which is KRN HVAC Products Private Limited. Why they are going to use this money for setting up a new manufacturing facility at Neemrana, which is in Alwar, Rajasthan. Now, how much money is going to be used? 24,246.1 lakhs is the money that is going to be used for setting up this new manufacturing facility. When does the IPO open? IPO opens on the 25th of September, closes on 27th of September. The price band is 209 to 220. The best part is that 341.95 crore is the total issue size, and 100% of that is a fresh issue. So all in all, I just tried to summarize this huge RHP into a video of roughly 10 to 15 minutes. I hope you enjoyed this IPO summary. If you did, don't forget to smash the like button. Don't forget to share this video with your friends. I hope you enjoyed this one. I'll see you in the next. Till then, take care. Jai Hind and bye bye.